atoms, molecules, and then these being made of electrons, protons, neutrons, and these being made of quarks, and so on. And the reason for accepting such hypotheses is satisfaction of my four criteria. Now, same applies with the arguments of natural theology, that is to say, the arguments from the most general features of the world to the existence of God. The supposition there's a God is the supposition that there is a personal being who is everlasting, omnipotent, can do everything, that is, omniscient, knows everything, and is perfectly free, is uninfluenced by desires and other irrational impulses. So, in that case, he will be a good God, because not being subject to irrational influences, he will not have any motivation, any reason for doing other than he sees reason to do, that is, other than is good to do. And he will know what is good to do, since he is omniscient. So, a good God will want to create a good universe. We are a good thing, so he might want to create us. Well, why are we a good thing? Well, because we have choices between good and evil, and we can make our world. We can make ourselves, we can improve our character by doing good acts, and we can help other people by doing good acts, or we can refuse to do so, and we can hurt other people and become bad characters. And this is an enormous good for us, that we are responsible for each other and for ourselves in this way. But if we are to be like that, then the world has got to be a simple place for this reason. There have got to be laws of nature which we can easily discover, because we are limited creatures, finite creatures, and in order to be able to influence each other, we have to have bodies, and these are the bits of matter we can control, and so there have to be regularities such that if I do this with my body, I will hurt you, and if I do that with my body, I will benefit you. That is to say, I can either shoot a gun at you, or I can give you something to eat. I can look after you by planting seeds and watering them, and they will produce food, or I can learn how to make a bomb, and that will kill you. But that can only be done. I can only have any influence beyond my body if there are regularities in the world, such that if I do this, food will grow. If I do that, a bomb will explode. If I do the other, you will get a present, and so on. Things have to behave in regular ways, and clearly things do behave in regular ways in this world, and that means that we can do things which have predictable results, and it's only because of that we can benefit or harm each other. And in fact, things behave in a very regular way in our world. Every atom in the world behaves in exactly the same way as every other atom in this respect, that it exercises gravitational power on every other atom in proportion to its mass and the mass of the other matter and their distance apart. Everything behaves in very simple, regular ways in the universe. Now, if there's a God who wanted to make us, then he's got to make a regular world in this way. If, on the other hand, there's not the slightest reason to suppose that every atom in the world would behave in exactly the same way, unless somebody had designed it. And the supposition there's a God is a very simple supposition, and it doesn't have to fit into our background knowledge, because it purports to be a theory of everything. So, here's a bit of evidence for the existence of God. The regularity of the universe, its conformity to general laws, is such that if there's a God, you'd expect it. If there isn't a God, you wouldn't expect it. It's a simple hypothesis that there's a God, and therefore the regularity of the world is evidence of the existence of God. And the regularity of the world is such that the laws of nature are such as to produce human bodies. The world was wound up perhaps 13.5 billion years ago at the time of the Big Bang, and the laws of nature are such that from the state of the Big Bang, 13.5 billion years ago, eventually our bodies, that is, were produced. And again, most unlikely that the laws of nature would have the characteristic of producing us, that the initial condition of the universe would be right to produce us. Quite likely if there's a God, once again, same simple hypothesis. So here's a further datum for the existence of God. Not merely are there laws of nature, they are such as, together with the initial condition of the universe, would produce us. But of course, the only thing that we're only valuable because we're not just bodies, we are conscious beings. And that's a further datum. If God is creating us, he's going to put consciousness, going to add conscious souls, as I would say, but at any rate add consciousness to human bodies, because that would only so would there be any point in his making human bodies. But there's no reason at all, given the ordinary laws of nature, to suppose that they would throw up conscious beings. As far as any physical laws anybody's ever discovered are concerned, they would throw up robots. So, again, a datum, much to be expected if there's a God, little to be expected if there isn't, and so evidence for the existence of God. So you'll get the general pattern. Many general features of the world are such that they are satisfying the basic criteria for a good explanatory hypothesis. An explanatory hypothesis, which of course allows anything any physicist might like to tell us, but is more general than that in the sense that it explains why what the physicist is telling us holds. It is a more general cause from which the particular causes of physics follow.